the formal session of today's event will kickstart. In the meantime, we want to occupy ourselves with a very important conversation. Of course, this discourse is all about mining, and everybody here can acknowledge that if there is any one threat that has become a menace in the entirety of the mining sector, then the name of that demon, if you like, is Galamsey. It's an issue that is a priority to the sector minister. The entirety of government is boarded, but we are still looking for the solutions. Indeed, we do have the solutions, all right, but actionalizing them is another conversation altogether. And so we are opening the floor. Let's all engage on how to deal decisively with the menace of illegal mining. Every comment, every input, every opinion matters. And so in a matter of 5 minutes, we want to hear how all of us as fellow Ghanaians also appreciate the issue. In the meantime, joining us now is the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Please put your hands together for him. In due course, we shall do the acknowledgement. Are we not clapping? Are we not excited, ladies and gentlemen? In due course, we would do the sanctioned acknowledgements, and then the proceedings will be underway. But in 5 minutes, we want to exchange ideas, how we believe we can deal with the elephants in the room, the menace of illegal mining. I just want 3 opinions, basically. If you're interested, if you're not shy, if you're not scared of anybody, you can raise your hand. The microphone will come to you, and then we would hear from you. If there are no hands up, I need to remind all of us that I'm the master of ceremony. Therefore, I have the right to point people as part of my powers this morning. And so if the hands do not go up, I shall exercise my discretion accordingly. Is there anybody who wants to conversate on the issue, how to deal with the menace of illegal mining? No opinion is being assessed, no input is being graded. This is a free-for-all interaction. Shall I exercise my discretion, ladies and gentlemen? Shall I? Okay. All right. Please, can the microphone go to our friend in red on my extreme left? She has an opinion to share.
Thank you. My name is Ekuba. From the University of Mines and Technology. So when it comes to illegal mining, we should ask ourselves, why are the people involved in illegal mining in the first place when there are avenues for them to be registered? From my little experience, I see that more or less...
Sorry, experience as what? An illegal miner?
No.
Okay.
I'm a mining engineer.
All right.
Lecturer with the University of Mines and Technology, precisely with the mining engineering department. And I'm also a specialist. That is my field of specialization.
Thank you.
So when it comes to the issue of illegal mining, I feel that as a country, if we are to assess our actions, more or less it looks like illegal mining is more encouraged than the legal ones. When it comes to those doing the legal ones, how they are being regulated, the encouragement for them to do it right is actually not being felt by the miners. So in my own opinion, if we want to curb it, we should go to the miners and get the grassroots solutions from them. Yeah.
All right, we should get the solution from the miners. All right. On that note, I need a discernment to identify a miner here, because it appears that the ball has been thrown into the courts of the miners. They are supposed to provide a solution. Any miner here? NIMOS is not here. The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat is not here to grab anybody. Any miner here who wants to share? We have 2 more inputs, then we would be done. He says that, indeed, the solution should come practically from the practitioners. There's a hand behind, please. Let's give the microphone to our brother. After that, we take the very last input. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Francis Kwame Ghani, ex-miner. So I'm still mining anyway.
Okay.
The point that Ekuba made is what I want to support, and I want to support it with some kind of experiences that has happened somewhere.
Yeah, tell us.
In the past, what we have been doing is fighting this illegal mining with force, and we are still using force, but we are not succeeding. So you realize that approach is actually not going to yield the required results. So like she said, we need to get to the people down there and bring them to the appreciation that what they are doing, the consequences and the extent of it. And develop with them their involvement, the right approaches. This has been done in Colombia when they had the same situation in the past, and not even directly to mining, but in civil conflict. So I believe we have to, alter our approach at this point in time so that we can get the right solution.
All right. An alternation in approach. We want to take the very last input from my brother here, and then we will be done with this particular informal session. Please, let's pass the microphone to him. Still exchanging ideas on how to deal decisively with the menace of illegal mining. He says that we should be move away from the combative approach and then abandon the force. Okay.
My name is Robert Jamasi. The word galamsey, or the illegal mining, I think is a very broad word. And I am a small-scale miner. Some of even our small-scale miners, they don't even understand the word galamsey or the illegal mining. You can even acquire a concession, right? So when you are working outside your concession to the buffer, it's illegal. So the galamsey or the illegal mining does not necessarily mean that those who are working and they don't have a document, or they are working in a river body, or they are working in a forest. So those who has legitimate document has to know this as well. And two, I think the commission is not doing well, because
when you say commission specifically,
I'm talking about the Mineral Commission.
Right.
They need to go down there, talk to the people, educate them about how to acquire a concession. They have their various offices at some of the districts, the mining communities. But they always sit at the office for the people who want to do the mining to visit them. At least there should be some kind of programs. Educate the people how to acquire the concession, the requirements, things that you need, and all that. So the illegal mining or the galamsey is not only on those who are on river body or forest, or those who doesn't have a document, but also even if you have a document and you are working outside your concession, it's illegal. So this is what I want to say, Patrick.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be having more of this very soon. I want to leave you in the company of the highlight tunes that we were listening earlier for 2 minutes. When I come back, we'll start with the program properly. Don't forget that portions of this interaction would be live on the Joy News channel. And so in 2 minutes, we will start.
Angini mungire
Thank you. All right. It's now time for us to commence with the proceedings officially. Prior to now, we had been occupied with a lot of publicity and campaigns to project this particular program. By the special grace of God, the moment of truth is finally upon us. And this is where we start the maiden edition of the Mining and Minerals Convention. If you're excited to be part, can we all put our hands together? Let's all clap for ourselves for making it to this all-important convention. We shall start first with an opening prayer, and so I would indulge all of us to rise and be on our feet as we acknowledge the presence of God at the start of this all-important convention. Let's pray. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity to congregate at this forum. It's a prayer that as we proceed, you superintend over the proceedings and give us a remarkable outcome. In the name of the Lord Jesus, have we prayed? Amen. All right. We can now take our seats. Thank you very much. I'm sure we already understand the essence of this gathering, why all of us are coming from industry, government, and academia to gather here this morning. But we want to understand it properly, and that is why, as of now, I will leave you in the hands of the organizers. I'm talking about the Chief Executive Officer who is running the whole of this business. Indeed, it is his idea that has brought all of us together. Please help me welcome to the podium Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu. A round of applause for Baba as he mounts the podium to tell us really why we are here.
The Honorable Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, distinguished captains of industry, esteemed members of parliament gathered here, members of the diplomatic corps, diplomatic partners, regulators, sponsors, partners, and all distinguished delegates and guests. On behalf of Meetings and Exhibitions Limited, I welcome you all to the Mining and Minerals Convention 2025. This year's theme, Shaping the Future of Ghana's Gold Industry, reflects our collective mission to unlock the full potential of Ghana's mineral wealth through innovation, sustainability, and partnerships. We are honored to host leaders from government, industry, finance, academia, and civil society, all working together to chart a bold future for Ghana's mineral sector. I extend heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors, Gold Board, Ghana Commercial Bank, Engineers and Planners, Asante Gold, Rabotech Group, our institutional partners, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Minerals Commission, Ghana Chamber of Mines, Ghana Mine Workers Union, Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, GIADEC, and every participant who has made this convention possible. Together, let us shape solutions, build trust, and create opportunities for generations to come. Welcome to 2 days of insights, dialogue, and action. Thank you very much.
Indeed, 2 days of insight, dialogue, and action. Please, a round of applause once again for Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu. Under normal circumstances, we were supposed to have in our company this morning the Honorable Chief of Staff, as well as the Sector Minister, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. But we do understand that there is an emergency cabinet meeting that requires their attention, and therefore they are not in our company this morning. All the same, they will be ably represented by the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And so if a round of applause, please help me welcome to the podium the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Why are we not clapping, ladies and gentlemen? Please, let's do it better.
Good morning. Indeed, I don't feel comfortable when they clap for me when I've done nothing for it. It's good to wait when you finish the exercise. Then if the people wish to clap for you, then they do it. Anyway, I've taken it in good faith. First of all, even before I start with my speech, I want to say that when I walked in, the session I met that has to do with taking suggestions and opinions from participants is very important. And I want to acknowledge the few who have spoken out and to assure you that your comments have been noted. Indeed, there is a shift from the way we used to do things. As I speak to you, next week the minister will be leading a team to go to wherever we have miners in order that we are able to register them there instead of waiting for them to come to the Mineral Commission's office. And I also listened to my sister, a lecturer, who also suggested that there's the need for us to go to the so-called galamseyers and then listen to them. That way, we'll be well informed. Again, I want to assure you that we are doing that. We want to bring everybody on board so that whatever decisions we take, everybody will own it. Thank you for your suggestions. Now, I stand here wearing two hats. The Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah, should have been here in person. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, should have also been here for this very important program. This morning when I walked to the office, my minister told me, this is a speech I prepared for this program. Go and represent me because the president is summoning us for a very important program. Then a call came from Chief of Staff to say that go and wear two hats. And so I may look ugly, but I'm supposed to wear two hats. So accept me in that form. The Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representative of the Bank of Ghana, other CEOs, presidents, captains of industry and development partners, civil society, sponsors of this program, friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today not merely as a minister, but a steward of a legacy, one as old as our very land, as deep as our richest ore, and as precious as the metal we have gathered here to discuss. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are here today not merely to discuss rocks and minerals, but to build the future, a future of shared prosperity, sustainable development, and mutual growth. But before I continue, I would like us to be on our feet and ask you to join me in honoring the memory of the 8 patriots who tragically lost their lives in the helicopter accident last month. Their demise must remain a constant reminder of our shared vision. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me and let us observe a minute of silence in honor of our departed patriots. Thank you. Please have your seats. Ghana's gold story began long before the world knew our name. from the ancient trade routes of Wangara merchants to the colonial designation of the Gold Coast, our land has always whispered the promise of wealth. Today, mining remains the bedrock of our nation's economic stability, contributing significantly to government's revenue, foreign exchange earnings, and job creation. We are Africa's #1 gold producer and the 60th globally. Some of the world's top gold mining firms, including Newmont, Gold Fields, Anglo Gold Ashanti, and now Zijin, have found a home in Ghana. Their presence highlights Ghana's global appeal as a mining destination and ever reflects the strength of our bilateral partnership. The figures are impressive, and we celebrate them. And yet, what we witness today is the paradox of plenty, a nation rich in gold, yet grappling with limited infrastructure and social development, especially in mining communities. Illegal mining, environmental degradation, and the urgent need to retain more value within our bodies. This is our reality, and the time has come for us to change the narrative. The future begins today, and it starts with us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while we are gathered here, I would like us to reflect on a profound question. How do we honor the legacy of our past while forging a future where our mineral wealth truly becomes the property and prosperity of the Ghanaian people? Under the visionary leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have moved from rhetoric to reform. The Reset Agenda is not just a slogan, it is a blueprint for transformation, one that is focused on what lies beyond the figures. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in response to these challenges, we have taken several strategic steps, culminating in a comprehensive, sustainable agenda and robust policy reforms for the mining industry. These include enhancing transparency, enforcing legislation, and aligning with global sustainability standards to protect our environment and communities. These policies include a comprehensive review of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, and the Minerals and Mining Policy 2014 through extensive stakeholder engagement to align with global best practices. 2, formalization and regulation of the small-scale mining industry to curb illegalities while protecting livelihoods. This has been achieved with the rollout of responsible cooperative mining and skills development program aimed at reforming the small-scale sector built on a model of community ownership, professional mining, and modern equipment. I think I mentioned this earlier on, that the minister will be leading a team next week using what we call the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program to get to the people and to register them at their doorsteps. 3, enhancement of local content and participation to ensure more Ghanaians benefit from the value chain. 4, promotion of environmental sustainability through stronger reclamation and land restoration policies to not just reclaim old mine-out sites, but to transform them into productive agricultural hubs and community assets, and also turning scars into symbols of renewal. Again, it is also to ensure a comprehensive audit of the licensing regimes with strict and fair sanctions grounded firmly in the rule of law. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our friends in the media, we believe mining must continue to serve as a catalyst for industrialization, infrastructure development, and community empowerment. Hence, we are committed to ensuring that the benefits of Ghana's mineral wealth are felt not only by investors, but more importantly, by the ordinary Ghanaian, our youth, our women, and very importantly, our mining communities. This is a paradigm shift beyond the colonial dig and ship model to a value-added approach model. Our vision is clear. Ghana must transform from being primarily an exporter of raw materials to a hub for value addition, the downstream processing, and also responsible resource mobilization must be our focus. We are also embracing digital transformation, leveraging technology for equipment tracking, mineral traceability, monitoring, and also governance. This digital leap, incorporating fintech-enabled solutions, will secure unprecedented transparency and bolster investor confidence. The future we are building requires a strong partnership between government, the private sector, financiers, civil society, academia, and, of course, our communities. This conversation provides a platform to share ideas, debate solutions, and forge collaborations that will shape Ghana's mining story for generations to come. So I say to the large-scale mining companies, partner with us in this new vision. Invest in our downstream projects. Mentor Ghanaian businesses in the value chain, and exceed your environmental and social obligations. To our small-scale miners, the government is your partner. Let us work together to make small-scale mining a proud, legal, and environmentally sustainable profession. To the financiers or to the financial institutions and technological investors, your capital and your creativity are the fuel for this transformation. Invest in our processing facilities and refineries and help us build a modern, sustainable industry of the future. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the task ahead of us is huge, but the opportunity is even greater. Ghana's mineral wealth must become the backbone of a sustainable, inclusive, and globally competitive economy. Together, we can ensure that Ghana's gold is not just a resource beneath our soil, but a legacy of prosperity for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, I thank you all for your commitment, and I look forward to transformative outcomes of this important conversation. May the good Lord bless us and bless our country, Ghana. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it better for the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Honorable Alhaji Yusuf Sulemana, who is also the Member of Parliament for the Bole Bamboy constituency, wearing the hat of the Chief of Staff and the Sector Minister, the Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah. We want to indicate at this point that we are also live on the Joy News channel and on Facebook. We are also being streamed live on Think News Ghana. And so for those of you who would want to share the conversation across board, these are the platforms that you can communicate to the rest of our friends who are not here. In this program, we are expecting a lot of dignitaries to throng this particular premises. As and when they do, we would acknowledge them in that particular respect. But now we shall hold ourselves in readiness for a very remarkable and important delivery. Because when you talk about mining in Ghana, the first mineral resource that comes to mind is gold. Who takes care of the country's gold? The Gold Board. Who leads the Gold Board? Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Mr. Sami Jemfi as he walks up for the delivery. Please, let's do it better for him as we listen from the Gold Board.
The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Yusuf Suleimana, captains of industry herein seated, colleague government officials, chief executive officers, highly esteemed invited guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I didn't hear your response. Good morning to you all. Good. It is a distinct honor to address you at this crucial convention as we exchange ideas on the growth and transformation of Ghana's fast-evolving minerals and mining sector. First, permit me to commend the organizers of this program, led by my good friend and brother, Baba Sadiq Abdullahi, for the tireless efforts in putting together this program. I think he deserves a round of applause from all of us. The African continent boasts of 30% of the world's known mineral reserves. Minerals constitute 70% of Africa's exports and 28% of Africa's GDP. These staggering statistics beg the questions: why do hunger, poverty, and underdevelopment persist in Africa? Why does our beautiful and heavily endowed continent remain peripheral in mineral wealth creation? The answer to these questions lie in our failure as a people to adequately leverage our natural resources for the advancement of our economies and the prosperity of our people. I am, however, excited to note that right here in Ghana, Africa's leading exporter of gold presently, we are resetting and rewriting this narrative. Under the vision and leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we are committed to optimizing national benefits from the exploitation and trading of our natural resources for the development of our country and the well-being of our citizens. This vision is anchored on the Nouvelle Ghana Gold Board, a strategic institution whose mandate is to streamline the gold trade sector and optimize returns from the exploitation and trading of Ghana's precious minerals for socio-economic transformation. Through the innovative Gold Board, we are setting national sovereignty over our mineral wealth and introducing a paradigm shift from raw extraction to value retention. As part of its core mandate, the Gold Board oversees, regulates, and participates directly in the gold value chain as relates to artisanal and small-scale mining, to assaying, trading, value addition, and export. The Ghana Gold Board holds exclusive rights to purchase and export all artisanal small-scale mining gold produced in Ghana, including the right to purchase a portion or all of all gold produced by large-scale mining companies. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at the Gold Board, we've been doing more than business as usual. Since our inception, the Gold Board has initiated aggressive licensing reforms to promote responsible sourcing of gold and other precious minerals, strengthened regulatory controls and oversight over the gold supply chain, introduced a transparent and competitive pricing system for licensed miners and licensed gold buyers, deployed robust aggregation systems to effectively mop up gold from all mining regions and districts of the country, removed major incentives for gold smuggling, such as the scrapping of the 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed small-scale gold, and intensified the fight against illegal gold trading and smuggling through the establishment of the Gold Board Task Force with reward for whistleblowers. These preliminary measures, ladies and gentlemen, have begun to pay off already, as they have led to record high gold exports, both in volume and value this year. Since January up to the end of August 2025, small-scale gold exports undertaken by or through the Gold Board, working closely with the Bank of Ghana, have hit a record high of 66.7 tons, with an export value of approximately 6.3 billion United States dollars. What this means is that the volume and value of small-scale gold exports from January to August 2025 alone have exceeded the total small-scale gold export outing for the whole of the year 2024. That is from January to December, which stood at 63 tons with a value of about 4.6 billion United States dollars. It is also instructive to note that the small-scale gold exports continue to surpass those from the large-scale mining sector, which stood at 65.1 tons with an estimated value of approximately 5.6 billion United States dollars for the period between January and August 2025. In line with our objects of supporting gold reserve accumulation by the Bank of Ghana, the Gold Board has initiated the local purchase of 20% of the gold output of 7 large-scale mining companies in the country. So far, we have locally purchased and supplied to the Bank of Ghana nearly 100 kilograms of large-scale gold to augment the gold reserves of the country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, foreign exchange accumulation from gold exports this year, particularly from ASM sector, have been unprecedented. These much-needed forex inflows have significantly strengthened Ghana's reserves, improved our balance of payments, and provided critical support for the Ghana cedi. These early successes underline the strategic role of the Ghana Gold Board to Ghana's long-term development and prosperity. As was publicly stated by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama a few months ago, the Ghana Gold Board is still in the preparatory stages of fully deploying its operational mandate, and significant untapped potential remains. But more than just the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, we at the Gold Board are proving something powerful, which is that African-born corporations can lead globally, not merely follow. These milestones that I've outlined are not ours alone to celebrate. They symbolize what Africa can achieve when we combine resource wealth with bold thinking. Beyond foreign exchange and contribution to revenue, the Gold Board is committed to traceability, environmental sustainability, and responsible sourcing, in line with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development OECD guidelines and international best practices. As directed by His Excellency the President of the Republic, the Gold Board will, before the end of this year, introduce and commence the implementation of a nationwide traceability system, which will ensure that every gram of gold purchased by the Gold Board can be traced back to its verified, licensed, and environmentally compliant mine of origin. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to also underscore the commitment of the Gold Board to government's avowed fight against the illegal mining menace. We at Gold Board recognize the importance of responsible mining and sourcing to the long-term sustainability and viability of Ghana's mining sector. To this end, the Gold Board will next week donate 5 Toyota Hilux pickups and an amount of 5 million Ghana cedis to support the work of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation Secretariat, NAMOS. And I know the Deputy Minister will be very happy to hear this. Also, in line with the instructions of His Excellency the President, and in furtherance of our ecological restoration policy, the Gold Board has made significant financial allocation to support the reclamation of 1,000 hectares of devastated forest reserves starting from November this year. Our corporate social responsibility policy, which we intend to roll out effective October 2025, we shall support mining communities with portable water systems, modern education and health facilities, scholarships for brilliant but needy students, among others. We are further committed to supporting the cooperative mining scheme launched by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and aimed at formalizing the artisanal small-scale mining sector while creating jobs and increasing national gold output. My brothers and sisters, I strongly believe that the time to maximize gold production and optimize national benefit is now, given the current unprecedented favorable international market conditions for gold. But this cannot happen without the needed financing for the value chain. Sadly, current financing models for mining in Ghana are too conservative. We need African capital structures to provide bold but practical financing solutions for the minerals and mining sector to maximize production and optimize recovery, particularly in this time of record high international gold prices. At the Gold Board, we are determined to sustainably increase Ghana's gold output and develop the country's gold supply chain responsibly from the country's heartland to global vaults, empowering communities while delivering sustainable and transformational returns. This is why we have launched the Mining Support Program with the aim of leveraging our mandate to attract direct investments into mining, particularly for the procurement of environmentally friendly mining equipment to optimize production and recovery for the maximization of national benefits. On 22nd August 2025, the Gold Board signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Goldstream Global DMCC. This MOU would eventually transform into a commercial agreement by November 2025 for the investment of up to $1 billion United States dollars in establishing over 300 responsible mines in blocked out mineralized areas and in partnership with concession owners. Under this program, the Gold Board will be collaborating with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and its allied agencies like the Minerals Commission to develop minerals areas, as well as partner with concession owners and communities to maximize Ghana's gold output through sustainable mining. As I've already indicated, this crucial mining support program will increase national gold output and create thousands of jobs in the mining ecosystem for the teeming unemployed youth of our country. Already, the Minerals Commission has released 10 blocked out mineralized areas to the Gold Board for this program and has further pledged to release more in the coming weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, establishing the presence of mineral resources through proper geological investigations is a critical first step to maximizing Ghana's huge and untapped mineral wealth. However, this demands substantial and often risky capital. At the Gold Board, we are partnering with the Ghana Geological Survey Authority and private geological companies to invest in geological investigations and develop a robust geological data repository for sustainable mining. This will provide mining with credible geological data reduce environmental degradation, and improve mining yields. Our mission for doing this is simple: move the artisanal small-scale mining sector from the phenomenon of, quote, lottery mining, unquote, and I know people understand what lottery mining is, to certainty through accurate geological data to guarantee returns and de-risk investments. The financial sector must not remain a passive observer. We therefore invite local financial institutions to partner with us in crafting innovative funding models for geological investigations. President Mahama's government is ready to shape policy that compensates strategic partners who invest early and help unlock long-term mutual returns. Additionally, Ghana's extractive sector, particularly the ASM sector, requires innovative financing structures to drive liquidity for miners and local traders to ensure sustainable gold supplies to the Gold Board. The Gold Board remains open to engage and transform with willing financial partners. Brothers and sisters, for far too long, we have ceded equipment financing and rentals for miners, especially ASM miners, to foreign entrepreneurs who have no regard for our water bodies and forest reserves. Our current policy interventions to weed out illegal gold traders and miners is effectively weeding out these irresponsible foreign equipment financiers. This undoubtedly creates a financing gap for small-scale mining and an opportunity to transform the sector through sustainable financing by responsible financiers. As a country, we must create export credit facilities for funding mining equipment and structure mining focus on lending to equip local banks to fund mining production. We must be bold, we must be urgent, and we must move now to optimize opportunities in our minerals and mining sector for mutual benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, let me cite this example for us to ponder over. As you may be aware, Ghana's primary pension fund yields almost negative real returns due to investments in unproductive ventures. Foreign pension funds, however, invest profitably in mining. Why not reorient our pension strategy as a country toward gold, a time-tested asset and a better hedge against inflation? Why can't we establish locally managed and globally viable equity and debt funds to catalyze mining investments? Before I conclude, let me touch on the most critical issue of value addition to Ghana's minerals worth. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a national shame that as a long-standing continental leader in gold production, Ghana continues to export doré, that is raw gold, instead of bullion. The Ghana Gold Board, which I lead, is determined to change this narrative as a matter of urgency. As part of the reset agenda of President Mahama, the Gold Board, in conjunction with the Bank of Ghana, is partnering local refineries such as the Gold Coast Refinery to begin the local refining of gold purchased and exported by the Gold Board. And this will begin next month, October 2025. Let me at this stage commend the Chamber of Mines for expressing their willingness to work with us to ensure the local refining of gold produced by large-scale mining firms in the country. The Gold Board will continue to drive innovation. And in this regard, ladies and gentlemen, we have secured a parcel of land at the cargo village at the Kotoka International Airport to build an ultramodern ISO-certified assay laboratory with the aim of changing Ghana's assay regime from SRF and water density to the golden standard of assay, fire assay, for all gold, both small scale and large scale, produced in or exported from Ghana. I'm happy to inform you that on that same parcel of land secured by the Gold Board, we will be building a wholly state-owned and international standard gold refinery to further advance the local refining of gold, transitioning Ghana from the export of doré to bullion. Plans are also underway, ladies and gentlemen, to develop strategic partnerships to establish a gold village in the nature of the Gold Souk of Dubai in Ghana, envisaged as a continental hub for gold jewelry and ornament production. But, brothers and sisters, this dream will elude us without a critical partnership of financial institutions for value-adding investments, particularly in the area of refining, minting, and the fabrication of minerals into jewelry, coins, tablets, and other forms of castings and store of value. I wish to remind all of us in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, that by 2030, Africa will be home to over 370 million young people aged 15 to 35. Unemployment rates are alarming, not because our youth lack talent and the desire to work, but because our systems lack vision. We cannot solve today's crisis with yesterday's tools. The minerals and mining sector must do more than the traditional extraction we are accustomed to. We must shift from raw exports to incontinent beneficiation, move from rent-seeking middlemen to decentralized tech-enabled trade models, and change from youth as laborers to youth as innovators, financiers, and owners. This is not a plea for aid. It's a declaration. Africa is ready to transform. So today, I challenge every government official, financier, corporation, and individual in this room. Let African minerals build African futures. Let our natural reserves fuel innovation, not corruption. Let our youth lead global trade and not just participate. Ghana is resetting. Africa is rising. The gold board is ready. All we need now is courage and capital. Let us fund the minerals and mining sector differently and work together to transform it. And let us make Ghana, Africa, and the world a better place. Thank you very much for your attention.
Please, is there a way to increase the applause for the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board? Exactly. If I'm allowed to share my impressions about this delivery, clearly it would be to say that the Gold Board is certainly on the right track and Ghana would be better for it. Please, once again, a round of applause for the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board. Indeed, very soon we would commence with the panel discussions where we get to also join the conversation, pose our questions in that particular respect. But now we want to take an industry overview, and to do us that honor, Ahmed Dassana Nantoma, I hope I got that one right. He is the Chief Operating Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. Please put your hands together for Dassana to give us the industry overview.
Honorable Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, CEOs present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I must also acknowledge the presence of my bosses. We have former presidents of the Chamber, Joshua. We have former CEOs, Tony and Suleiman Kony, as well as a sitting second vice president of the chamber, Madam Angela. You're all welcome. As a chamber, listen, all the speakers, mostly government oriented. We are a private sector institution, and we're kind of surprised to be asked to give an overview of the industry. This is usually a job left to the Minerals Commission. So please indulge me. Not everything that I say here will be politically correct. If I am politically incorrect, I do apologize in advance. Thank you very much. So I have 15 minutes. I'll try to go through this. We'll talk about the chamber, regulatory, mining industry, trends, pipeline projects, government policy priorities, which was touched on by the Honorable Minister, the reset, the proposed amendments to the Act, what our view is, and we'll also talk about some of the challenges in the industry. So I must say, probably, arguably, the Ghana Chamber of Mines is one of the longest existing mining industry association, which was established in 1903. So because of our relevance, and the more relevant you are, the longer you stay. So from 1903, we moved to 1928, where we became the Gold Coast Chamber of Mines. As then, when Ghana became independent, the chamber also became independent. So we changed our name from the Gold Coast Chamber of Mines to the Ghana Chamber of Mines in 1957. Our vision is to be a respected, effective, and unified voice for the mining industry. And we represent our industry using the capabilities and resources of our members to deliver services that address members' government and community needs in order to enhance sustainable development. So I'm happy the CEO of the Gold Board mentioned the collaboration between the chamber and the Gold Board. As a mining chamber, one of our cardinal principles is to use mining as a catalyst for development by promoting environmentally and socially responsible mining. Because you can't be a catalyst for development if you are mining irresponsibly and if you are not socially correct. So that's what the chamber is all about. These are the members of the chamber, the large-scale mines. In Ghana, we have small-scale mines, we have large-scale mines. Unfortunately, we do not have a medium-scale sector, which as a chamber we have been advocating for. Some of the small-scale mines, when you put them together, they are bigger than small-scale, but they are not in the large-scale mine, so it affects their environmental activities. They will behave like small scales, but their impact is on the large scale. So put together a medium-scale mine that can help us formalize the small-scale mining sector. We have 13 large-scale gold-producing mining companies, 1 large-scale manganese-producing mine, pre-production, those who are yet to produce. Contract mining, who provide contract mining services. 5 of the firms are local firms. Our own Ghanaians are doing contract mining, and 3 are multinationals. So this tells you that in the mining sector, local participation is very key for development. We have exploration companies who do the research. Exploration is the lifeblood of mining. And I'm happy the Gold Board CEO says that they're going to work with the Geological Survey Authority. And as a chamber, that's what we're advocating for. We need to resource them. We need to make them capable of looking for the answers. Because exploration is very capital intensive. You can do exploration for 10 years and not make a find. That money is money going down the drain. So that's why sometimes we ask for what? Some kind of exemptions for exploration companies so that they can find the ore that we will mine. We have affiliate members who provide the services to the mining companies. Majority of them are Ghanaians. And then we have associate institutions, not-for-profit institutions that work with the Chamber of Mines. They do not pay any subscription to us, but the Chamber actually is a subscription-based private sector voluntary industry association. So if you subscribe to ESG, if you subscribe to responsible mining, you are welcome to join our chamber. With the regulatory sector, we know from the Parliament of Ghana, ratification of mining leases, and this is one of the resets that we support in the review of the mining laws, whereby they are putting a cap on the number of days that will take Parliament to ratify a mining lease. Sometimes you get your lease, and for 2 years, it's not been ratified by Parliament. Somebody can technically call you an illegal mine, but then you have provided all So these are the minerals that we are aware of so far: iron ore, lithium, graphite, limestone, feldspar, and solar salt. So this is just some macro indicators, the contribution of mining. So if you look at the share of mining and quarrying gross domestic product was about 10%. Mineral receipts in gross merchandise export receipts 2024, 57% from the mining sector. Direct taxes was 23%. And the labor force. The sector has over 11,000, the large-scale mining sector, members of the chamber, about 11,000 employees. Of the large-scale mining sector, the largest block of people are the Chinese with 33%, and Ghanaians own 20%. The Canadians own about 20% as well, South Africa. So this is the division of ownership of large-scale mines. When we say ownership, those who brought the initial investment, those are the owners. But if you go to these companies, those who run all these companies, like I said, about 99% of them are Ghanaians. So these are a list of some of the companies, the small-scale mining ones and the large-scale ones. There's only one bauxite company so far, and then one manganese mine as well. We are looking forward to when we'll see the iron ore and the lithiums and other minerals as part of this chart. So I'm sure it's been said before already that Ghana is the leading producer of gold in Africa. So if you see the graph over there, it shows you where Ghana is. As we are aware, China is number 1, followed by Russia, Australia, Canada, United States, and then Ghana. So we are not doing too badly at all. We are trying our best to get up there. So probably with this reset, we could become number 2 in the world. Okay, so if you look at the large scale and the small scale mining sector, it's been said already from the Gold Board that the small scale mining sector has overtaken large scale mining sector in terms of volumes. So production is mostly uniform from the large scale sector, which is in blue, and the small scale sector, which goes up and down depending on the price, government support, or whatever. So for Ghana to benefit, there need to be a synergy between the large scale mining sector and the small scale mining sector. It's already been said as well that there's more emphasis on the small scale sector. As if large scale miners do not provide anything. But I beg to differ. Without large scale mining, I don't think the small scale mining on its own will survive. Everybody needs a big brother. Once you have a big brother who will hold your hand to school, along the line, you develop step by step. But if you try to overtake your big brother, you end up in a ditch. And then by falling in the ditch, you take your big brother along with you. So the Ghana Chamber of Mines supports small-scale mining, responsible small-scale mining. So if, as a Ghanaian, I'll be proud to say that, look, we own all our minerals, and then we run all our mining firms. But the investment for mining does not sit here. I keep referring to Mr. Sami Jamfi because he spoke before me, and I don't know whether he read my script. But for Ghana to be sustainable in the mining sector, we need investment. And we bring foreign investment. If you bring a foreign investment, it's a given that the foreigner who has brought in the money will need to go back and pay the loans. So if we use our pension funds, it's our own money. We can use it, but we have to make sure that when you and I go on pension, there'll be money there for us. Not put the pension fund in risky investments. At the end of the day, there'll be nothing to be benefiting from. So we support small-scale mining, and we believe that with a proper collaboration within the large-scale mines, small-scale mines, and government, we could have a mining sector. Can you imagine if all this, I don't know what it is, what color is this? Whatever color it is, apart from the blue, if we all had all of them at the same level, can you imagine if we had them at the same level, the amount of income that would have come into this country? The same way, if we had them at the same level of environmental integrity, responsible mining, we wouldn't have had all these issues about mining in water bodies and destroying our forests. So small-scale mining is good, but then it must be done in an environmentally and socially responsible manner. Good. So this is just a chart of the production outlook: manganese, diamonds, bauxite. That's the other minerals that we have that we need to harness for our socio-economic development. The future of mining. This is for large scale. It's bright. It looks bright. It's potentially bright. We need to get there. So we have Newmont developing the Ahafo North project. They're looking about 300,000 ounces per year. With a current life of mine for 13 years. One thing about the life of mine is that it keeps growing. It's not like a human being when you have an end. You have a life of mine for 13 years. But as you keep mining and keep doing exploration, you could have another extension for another 13 years based on your feasibility. So when you see a life of mine, it doesn't mean that Newmont is going to close down in 13 years. It means that currently, using the current gold price and everything together, they are sure that for the next 13 years, they are going to produce optimally. Maybe before 13 years, there's new technology, new development, to add another 10 or 20 years to their life of mine. And this ties in to the review of our policy, where we are trying to put a cap on how long your life can be extended or your lease can be extended. We need to be flexible with that, so that if I give you 13 years and I come back and say, look, I have another 20 years, you should be willing to give me the 20 years, because along the line, I'll still continue to pay my taxes. Otherwise, the person I'm taking the money from, there's a particular mine that says that you need currently about $600 million just to do a cutback to develop that mine. If we put $600 million from our pension funds into that investment, we need to assure the pension fund managers that, look, there will be return. And that return will go beyond 13 years. Otherwise, nobody will give you money and know that after 13 years, whether you make profit or not, there will be no extension. So these are the kind of things that investors look for, and we need to assure them that, look, your money is safe in Ghana so far as your life of mine can prove it. We have the please go back. We have the Black Volta project. It's currently being discussed. We hope that, sane minds will prevail, and we'll have a wholly Ghanaian-owned company started by Ghanaians, run by Ghanaians, and based on that, we can grow other mines. So we need to do it in such a way that will be transparent and beneficial to everybody. The OER project, Atlantic Lithium, we are aware of. I think the lease is either ratified or being about to be ratified. And this one should have happened some time ago. At that point, the lithium price was around $3,000. It wasn't ratified. It had to start over. And now the lithium price is $600. You can imagine if you put $600 million into this project, you don't get ratification, Now the price drops from 3,000 to 600. There's a lot of nervousness. And if one investor is nervous, then all other investors will be nervous as well. We have the Enchi Gold project that is from Nicor. They are also looking at producing 120,000 ounces per year. It's in the western north region in the Enchi area. The Kambali Graphite project is all on course. So these are new projects that are coming up. The key ones, we have a lot more that we think will come up later along the line. Please go. Okay, so these contributions to the economy is basically for the members of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. For here, we are being exclusive because these are numbers that we gather and we know. So we know that in a particular year, we got about $7 billion as revenue. And we returned $4.9 billion back into the country. So about 70% of mineral revenue comes back directly into this country. So if anybody says that mining does not bring money back, I'm not sure that's true. 70% of all mineral revenue comes back into the country. And I can tell you this is how it's being spent. For the local expenditure, where we buy local from local companies, about $2.8 billion was spent in Ghana, spent among the local members, the affiliate members that I mentioned, and also for taxes and everything. Electricity alone was $264 million. This is from the large-scale mines. So can you imagine if the small-scale mining sector is also developed and adds to the $7 billion, it would have been $14 billion. And these things could have multiplied. So just telling you that large-scale mines are doing their best. And they are doing a lot more. At a certain point in time, it was the only player in the room anchoring our city. So if we are promoting small-scale mining, let's promote it as a responsible sector, but not because we are not getting enough for large-scale mines. Sometimes the narrative is that large-scale mining is not giving anything, so let's do small-scale mining. No, I think we can live together with the right policies and the transparencies and the discussions and the negotiations. Corporate taxes in 2024 was about 10 billion cedis. Mineral royalties returned 4.9 billion. Income tax 1.4 billion. Dividend to government was about 1 billion and others. So if you look at social investment, mining companies in their communities spent around $28 million for corporate social investment. This is outside all the payments that we make to government. But as good corporate citizens, we thrive on the development of our host communities. And this was spent. So I'm happy the CEO of Gold Board has said that they are going to do that. If we added that to what we are doing, we will have a better developed mining community. Another issue is that royalties do not go back. The royalties do not go back in time. Previously, it was capped. I mean, they will give you a certain percentage of what is due you. Now, what is due you will not even come. And when it comes, it's so inadequate that you cannot use it for anything. So I believe that as part of the reset, government must ensure that the right amount of mineral royalties go back to the communities at the right time, in the right quantities. As a chamber, we look beyond that. We're asking for a minerals revenue management law that will guide how the mineral royalties are used. Because another thing is the first problem, the money is not enough. Number two, it doesn't even come. The third one is that when it even comes, nobody sees what it's being used for. So you go to a mining community, for 10 years, you can't see anything from mining. They say mining is not doing enough because the assemblies, they use the mineral royalties for recurrent expenditure. We think mineral royalties should not be used for collecting bola. Excuse my language. So we think that government should take a good note. We supported the Bank of Ghana with over 358,000 ounces that we sold to the Bank of Ghana to shore up the city. Please, can we move on? These are projects. I'm sure these pictures have been seen already, what mining companies do in host communities. And we welcome people to visit and see. Yeah, please, you can just skip the pictures. Please go back. The Ghana Chamber of Mines has set up a tertiary education fund where we are providing $2 million every 5 years to support education at the University of Mines and Technology. So, yeah, you can see the chief contractor here, a former CEO, cutting the sword for that building, which is Mineral Faculty building, which is currently complete and being used. We provide smart classrooms, and now we are looking at providing an AI and robotics laboratory for the UMAT. We plan to spend over $5 million within 10 years just to support education in mining and mineral economics engineering. Can we move on? So in terms of responsible mining, I think we've talked about it, that we subscribe to responsible mining because our slogan is promoting environmentally and socially responsible mining. ESG is what we are keen to, we abide by all the ESG principles. Please move on. So let's move on. So I think I've talked about this. Manganese is being hauled by road. Honorable Minister would like some collaboration to see how we can haul the manganese and our bauxite by rail to protect our roads and also to provide more job opportunities. So, thank you very much. You are just too kind for me. We know the impact, the difference between road transport and rail transport. If you go to the Western region now, all those heap trucks, I must say that there are a group of people whose business will be affected by rail transport because they own the trucks. But the plans should be such that if you get a vehicle to do that, let's get them to be part of the rail development so that they can change their articulated trucks into wagons. So you sell your truck and then you buy a wagon. Then you still be hauling the manganese by road. Otherwise, the truck owners will kick against the rail development because it will lose livelihood. But if you add them to the railway development from trucks to wagons, I'm sure we'll get an ally in them. Can we move on, please? So I think I've talked about this review. We have discussion with the Honorable Minister and the Minerals Commission on what some of our issues are about developing, abolition of development agreements, mandatory community development. For the community development, I think the idea is to make it 1%. But we believe that mining companies spend a little more than that. If you cap 1% and I do my 1%, I'll just go to sleep. If there's room to do more, I will just say I'm doing more. So I think that there should be flexibility in these things. We are saying that provide the flexibility to cater for unknown times. I will not dwell much on this. We have sent the proposal to the government and the powers that be, and we'll continue to engage on that. Can we move on? So this is just some of, if you are comparing country by country, how they are managing their mining leases, and nobody has put a cap. They say up to. You see that it's up to. So once it's up to, within that band, are flexible. Otherwise, if you say 15 years, and I have a project that needs 20 years, what happens to that project? Are we going to cancel? No. So if it's up to 30 years, then depending on your economics of it, you are giving your extension based on your economics. Some of them will continue to renew and renew and renew. So as we are reviewing our law, we should ask ourselves, what do we really want? Are we looking for sustainability? Are we saying that, look, it's our mineral, so let's take it and push everybody all away? So as a chamber, we continue to provide thought leadership on these things so that together we can build a sustainable mining industry that is future-proof. We don't want to have a law that we have to be reviewed in the next 5 years. We want a future-proof mining industry for our country. Can we move on, please? So in terms of taxation, you can compare Ghana and Nigeria. Look at the size of where we are. So effectively, Ghana is getting a lot more than most every country in terms of taxation. So it's not because mining companies are not paying taxes. We are paying, and we are paying a lot more. And we are happy to be part of the economy. But we just want to be given a fair hearing to understand our economics. Not all companies are the same. And depending on the price, the gold price could fall tomorrow. What happens if your tax rate is just too high? So all in these things, collaboration and flexibility is what the Chamber of Mines is it's asking for. Let me move on, please. So these are some of the challenges in the sector. We know the fiscal burden, illegal mining and effect on mining concessions, licensing issues, and also local content and local ownership issues. So these are areas that we think we can look at and see how we can make mining viable so that we can all benefit from it. Can we move on? So, ladies and gentlemen, in bringing my presentation to a close, like I've said before, Ghana is good. It's ripe for investment. Ghana is a very good investment destination. We have the skills, we have the resources, we have the politically stable environment, and there's also a strong collaboration between the industry and government. I must acknowledge that the Chamber and the Mine Workers Union and the ministries, we work collaborative together because we know that you cannot win without the other. And Honorable Minister, we are very grateful for the kind of support that the ministry gives our industry. And we hope that in future, proving our industry, we can continue to build on that collaboration to make Ghana a mining destination and make Ghana mining a catalyst for development. Thank you very much.
Very elaborate presentation there. Please put your hands together once again for Ahmed Dassana Nantoma. Indeed, we'll be having more of these interactions, but as of now, reading the momentum of the room, I think it is the right time for us to take a short coffee break. When we come back, we would indulge the panel discussions. But before we do that, we want to acknowledge our partners for this all-important program. The Ghana Gold Board is proudly the lead sponsor for this program. Please, a round of applause for the Ghana Gold Board. The Ghana Commercial Bank is also a part. Asante Gold, Engineers and Planners, Rabotech Group. Thank you. M Saga Precious Metals. And for our institutional partners, we have, of course, the Supervising Ministry, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Minerals Commission, the Minerals Development Fund, the Ghana Chamber of Mines, the Ghana Union of Mine Workers. Please, do we have their reps here? Are they in our company this morning? Okay, all right, thank you. Indeed, they came in droves. They are in their numbers. Thank you very much. When we get to the panel, we would engage you more. So that's by way of acknowledgement, ladies and gentlemen. We would now walk through the doors, have the coffee break, and then when we come back, please, it's supposed to last for 10 minutes. Let's do well not to exceed that duration. Then we come and then we have the conversations. After that, we would have lunch and then we would be gravitating to the end of today's session. Thank you very much. Enjoy the break, interact, socialize, say hello, and network more. Thank you.
There are some ideas, we'll pick them to make the discussion very, 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 engaging. But to start, we all know what Ghana stands for. Regarding mining issues, the importance of mining to our economy, regarding both small-scale and large-scale mining activities. So we're gathering here today is a matter of our survival and sustainability as a country. Driving straight to our panel discussion, I welcome all my discussants this afternoon. I can see my father, Dr. Tony Obin, and my big auntie and my senior on the panel. So zooming straight, the discussion is going to be about policy, regulation, investment, how these three thematic areas, are going to be playing together to position Ghana still as the best mining destination in the African continent. To start with, I think recently the government is doing so well, trying to review our mining policy, and once they are done, they'll zoom to the Mining Act, trying to make sure it fit for purpose, fit for the times in which we are now. This will be a teaser. Respectfully, I'll throw the question through. What gaps are we foreseeing, specifically within these two documents, that we think we should put more focus on before we go into our main discussions? Thank you. I'll start from Mr. Bobby Banson.
Thank you very much for having me. I've had an opportunity to look at the draft policy, which I think it should still be available on the website of the Minerals Commission. And then it's... Hello? Okay. I've had an opportunity to look at the draft policy, which is, I think, should still be available on the Minerals Commission website. And looking at the history, you would see where we've come from in terms of our mining. With the policy that is still there, because it's still work in progress, so it's not finalized yet. I think the major gap, as I see it, it's moving from touting the rhetoric, local content, local participation, to local ownership. I think it's very key for me. We have, over the years, we started from the position where we said small scale and artisanal mining should be restricted to Ghanaians. I think that over the years we've had enough capacity, technical and financial, to be able to move beyond that and then consider looking at some minimum level of local ownership, even in the large scale mines and beyond. And looking at the draft policy now, I did not see that being pushed there, and it's something that I am looking forward to us discussing this afternoon from my perspective.
Thank you very much. Madam?
Thank you very much for the question. I would like to clarify that I am not the founder for Women in Mining. It's a group of women who came together to found it, and I was asked to be president, so I am the president for Women in Mining in Ghana. So from my perspective, generally, I think that because of where the world is going, and we are looking for investment, ESG is one of the biggest things right now globally. And within the ESG, we want to push for policies that actually favor female participation in the mining, the full mining value chain. Currently, for the large-scale mines, according to the Chamber of Mines, we are doing less than 12%. Ahmed was talking about, a total force of almost 11,500. So in that figures, only 12% of them are female. And with this, we are talking about employed women who are employed. There are initiatives, maybe we'll come to that. So anyway, I'll leave that. So participation in the workforce, participation in procurement, and also for small-scale mining, is there a possibility that some block-out areas could be led for women who are capable to also participate? I mean, the law is gender neutral. It's not saying that women should not participate, but we all know some of the challenges that makes it necessary for us to help them, to also be able to participate in the full value chain. So I would push the gender equity issues.
Thank you very much for that perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I was wondering what I was doing here, coming from the petroleum hub. So I felt I was lost. But my very good friend and brother, when I resisted from coming, he said, look, you have some information to share. There's enough that you have to share, even if you are at the petroleum hub. And I couldn't agree with him more. Particularly on the, if you look at the mining policies, I am intimately involved, but I was involved in developing the policy. If you look at the date when it was done, I was at I was a regulator at the Minerals Commission. And I think 10 years after that, I believe it is time to have a comprehensive look at it. So timing is right. But in terms of policies and regulations, there are a lot of things that this new reviews brings on board. In fact, there is this is a rare opportunity for us to address some critical questions of taxes, some critical questions of benefit distribution, some critical questions on local content. As I may look older, but Bobby Banson is my senior. So as my senior counsel said, you know, we need to look at local content. Even in the current state of local content, you realize that it is about supply. So when a Ghanaian brings something to a mine, as long as it's from a Ghanaian, it's a local content, which is fine. But it doesn't do much for our industrialization. It doesn't do much for import substitution. I think the whole idea is for Ghanaian manufacturing to fit into the value chain and not mere Ghanaian going to China, bringing the things and supplying. We are happy that Ghanaian will get the value out of it, but for our development, broader development, I think the issue of industrialization as part of local content must be. I expect it to feature in the law, and of course, small-scale mining, which I call my baby. I believe that there's a lot we can do with small-scale mining. If you look at the law, it doesn't define what small-scale mining is. It only tells you who should participate in small-scale mining. That you must be, I think, a Ghanaian, 18 years or so. You must have 25-acre land and must be registered. I mean, all those things. They are not detailed enough for us to address the challenges. The issue of recategorization. I mean, what we see outside is more than small-scale mine. But people run and hide under small-scale mining when there are issues. So these are some of the things that I'd expect to change under the new legal framework. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this has really set the base for our discussion to kickstart. My first point, we'll start from the investment aspect of BIT. Recently, there have been conversations from government and also concerns, and also some response from industry players regarding government's decision considering to reduce the ceiling of the mining lease period from 10 years to 15 years. Personally, I agree with government because I believe it will give room for government from time to time to not to bully the companies, but to make some fiscal changes. Because today when finance minister goes and read a budget that we are paying this tax, the tomato seller is affected. But sometimes due to some of these stability activities, such multinational companies are a bit protected. There is also a school of thought that also hold some views otherwise, which needs to be looked out for. So I'll start from Dr. Tony Obin to critically share his opinion on this issue and how it will position Ghana still as the best investment destination for mining activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will start by saying that investors are cowards. They would only go to where they feel safe. And investors are not only foreign investors, they are also Ghanaian investors. Sometimes we think to be an investor, you must be a foreigner. But Ghanaians are investors ourselves. So policies that we make, we should look at it as something that may affect both Ghanaian and foreign investors. I know that in the 80s, when government was coming out of the structural adjustment program, Ghana needed to do a lot to woo investors, for which reason a new mining law was passed, the Minerals Commission was established, and many other things were done to attract investors. The issue of development agreement came up because we wanted to use that to bring in $500 million. If you had that, then you get that. So for me, if the threshold could be increased, it might also be a source of attraction. I mean, if the threshold could be increased to say that instead of 500 million, you have to bring 1 billion, or you have to show that you are investing 1 billion in our country, it is something that would be attractive. And that within the period, and government has done well over the years to respect all the tenets of those requirements. Some companies have complained though, but generally you see that government have respected that. So rather than take it off completely, I'd rather ask for an enlargement in the threshold. So but let's bear in mind that we should not do anything to push out both local and foreign investors. Ghanaians are also investing outside. Let's know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will take some perspectives also from the other panelists here.
Okay, thank you. Ghana is not the only country with resources. If we look at West Africa, Ivory Coast, all of the countries, they all have some mineral reserves. I think that one of the things we have going for us now is the insecurity in the region. So it makes Ghana, Ivory Coast, and those other countries very attractive. But I as a mine support service company, people are still doing business even in those regions. And so sometimes I think we have to be conscious of the fact that we are not the only fish, basically in the sea. And when somebody wants to invest, stability is not just change of party or democracy. I mean, Ghana is democratic because we successfully change. But an investor sometimes is looking at how constant and stable doing business in a country is. I haven't followed what you are saying very closely, but even me as a business person, if I want to, for example, put up a plant, I have to tell my bank that, okay, I'm going to be able to recoup the money over so and so years. Dr. Obin has said that even those mines, the kind of monies that they invest, so I don't know, I feel like 15 as a cap might be stretching it too much, and we might not attract the investment, quality investment, because you want people who will invest, which will be beneficial to the community, beneficial to everybody, not just come and take and go. And so I know there are discussions. I'm hoping that it can be flexible enough.
Thank you very much. I mean, it indicates that we still need to engage more to arrive at a very definite point. Doc?
I'm not a doctor yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Counsel. Yeah.
So you made my very senior Kwame Akufu come and look at me. This is a very thorny issue for me. I will be speaking from a point of maybe having been involved directly in some of these discussions and negotiations, for lack of a better word, at the highest level, especially with experiences from other countries. Some time ago, I was part of a team that represented the Ethiopia government against a mining company in a dispute relating to some of these stabilization matters. And the Ethiopian government won because we argued some of these things that we are saying now. Now, if you come and look at our local laws, we have the Mining Act that says minimum of 30 years, and it says that there may be stabilization clauses. So the stabilization clauses saying that tax regimes will not adversely affect what is there. I think about this year, Talo had a dispute that went to international arbitration against government of Ghana in respect of taxes. And then government of Ghana lost, I think, when the decision came. And it all goes down to the wording of the thing. Madam, I agree with you. Ghana is not the only fish
But Dr. Obin, you have been in the industry for years. I think what our climate was 20 years ago is not the same as the climate is now. I think we should approach the negotiation table with some of these things with a more, for lack of a better word, bullish, not disrespectful, but bullish. The reason being that Ghana's gold is one of the best in the world. Anglo Gold, I think Anglo Gold was able to list on the stock exchange years ago, doing only this. If you look at all the top mining firms in the world, 6 of them are in Ghana, or 10 of them are in Ghana. And their production in Ghana, I know a company, for instance, that used their productions in Ghana to acquire mines in Chile and in other countries. Now, if you say that we put a cap of 30 years, my disagreement with it is that every lease should be timed to the lifetime of the mine. So after they do their prospecting, they're able to tell you that this is the lifetime, maybe 20 years, 15 years. Then based on that, the Minerals Commission can recommend to the minister that this mine has a lifetime of 11 years. We had a display on the board of some big mines with their lifetime. A lifetime of a mine that is 11 years. Why do you give a lease for 30 years? Now, the reason is that most of these miners, and I stand to be corrected, Pepra, you can correct me, when they are getting to the end of the agreement, we recently had an experience where a big company with those issues, they start mining differently, for lack of a better word, because they do not want to spend a lot more money doing what would be responsible mining, because they know it's left with only X number of years. They start compiling the waste, and then they will start leaving it because they know this is the period that is left. And then they mostly will sell it off. Recently, they sold Achim mine or Newmont for so many years. This could have come back to government of Ghana. And you know, at that stage, it would have been less expensive producing from there because all the hard work had been done. So if you have a mine that has a lifetime of 11 years, and then you give a lease for 30 years, after 7 years, they will go to the market, sell it for much more, much more, and then come to the government of Ghana for a renewal. Because at that time, the mining leases would have those compulsory, for lack of a better word, renewal clauses. But if we don't give them those terms, they don't have anywhere else to go. They don't have anywhere else to go. And so I think we should move beyond, we need them as investors. The only thing they have that we do not have yet is financing. Trust me, they use our tenements, go to the international market, the stock market, to say, we've been given a lease for 30 years. This is the volumes that we can produce. Give us money. But if the government decides to take a conscious decision to let Bank of Ghana, some of the big banks, say that if it is a Ghanaian trying to take a lease, let the interest rate be this amount, we can match them boot for boot on the international market to develop our own mines.
Okay. That's great. I have a follow-up question to that, but I will pick Dr. Tony, then I'll come to you, please. Sorry. Yeah.
I think something has to be clarified here. The issue of stability clause and then the issue of mining lease. So I think this should not confuse us.
Yes.
I totally agree that mining lease, the mining lease must be linked to the life of the mine. There's no doubt about that. So but it must be flexible enough that government would have to, for the incumbent operator, would have the first right of refusal. But reducing it to your life, what you have come to tell, that this is how long you will use to mine, that I don't have a problem. The problem I had, and that is how your question was framed, stability agreement. So the stability agreement, I'm saying that it only tells you that, look, if you bring in this amount of money into our country, then we can hold some taxes or some fiscal input constant for a period. So what I'm suggesting is that rather than say we have taken out stability agreement or development agreement completely, we can expand the threshold and then add some things so that it's also a way of attracting investors. And it could attract local mining investor as well, when he's assured that once he has managed to bring in, let's say, for want of better price, 1 billion, he can have a stability of some 10 years or something. I think that difference must be held. Lease period and the stability agreement. Thank you.
That's great. I think it's clear that on the issue about we proposing a reduction of the lease period, the discussion is centering on it should be tied to the life of the mine. With the issue about the DAs and co, you have the point that we should increase the threshold. Now, life of mine is based on certain parameters. The geology, the grade, the tonnages, blah, blah, blah. So a company comes and say, I have this mine and my LOM is indicating 12 years. It makes sense. Then we are going to indicate that, okay, we are going to give you a lease for 12 years. Fine. In practical mining operation, those declarations are not, let me say, constant. Subject to exploration activities, it may increase the life of the mine. And even now that even the gold price is even increasing like that, I mean, a life of mine of so many companies will just be going up just like that. In this case, how should we create our laws so that in as much as we are also protecting ourselves, we also protect, let's say, the prospective, people who are also coming to invest here. And on the back of that, mostly as a country, we assume that, we can raise the funds here. But there are other large-scale mining companies in Ghana that are not multinational companies. And we see how they are doing to a greater extent. Can we close the gap? Thank you.
Please. Okay. Yes, we definitely can close the gap. We have a template or a blueprint to follow, and I will make the reference to South Africa. Right after independence, they decided to have a regime that will encourage locals to own mines. And so their laws stated that if you apply for, before a lease would be issued to you if you're a foreigner, there must be a minimum 26% that must be owned by a South African, a black South African, not a white South African, a black South African. And Mandela introduced it in 1994 or so. And out of it, we have Patrice, the richest miner, whatever. It's because of that. And there was a further policy that if you apply to pay your 26%, the banks should give you interest rate at a minimum amount. And based on that, he was able to raise from that shares, negotiated, and he was able to acquire a lot of the mines. And it made him very rich. And it wasn't only for his pocket. It benefited every person that was able to do that. So if the government decides to make it as a policy, as at today, I think, Dr. Obi, I think it was during your time that was done. The Mining Act has a provision that based on so before you are given the lease, you submit your work plan, your financial capabilities and how you plan disbursing those things, the local content, all of those things. And there's a provision that says that if you develop, in respect of the development agreement, by a certain amount, you should list on the stock exchange. It's in our law. That if, I think beyond 5 years, up to 5, there's something, you should list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. How many of the mining companies are listed on the stock exchange? If you list on the Ghana Stock Exchange, then the possibility is that Kofi Menu, who is a cocoa farmer in Kumasi or anywhere, would have an opportunity to own a piece of the land here. They don't do it. They don't do it. Why don't they do it? They rather go and list on other stock exchanges where Baba Sadiq will not be able to go and buy shares in New York, rather than listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. So I believe that if we are able to, as a government policy, make it that this is where we want to go, they have no option. They would comply with it because they know that where they are coming from, that is how it is there. And then we'll be able to meet them some way. You know, when they introduced the compulsory contract mining in Ghana, it has developed the capacity of the local companies now. And so if we introduce a policy that will promote local ownership vis-a-vis local content in terms of supply and those things, over 5 years, 10 years, we will develop local capabilities and capacities to own this.
That's great. Powerful point made here. Madam, can you come in?
I want to concentrate a little bit on the fact that Ghana's laws, policies, and regulations, I think that, I know we are doing a review, but there is a lot that we can achieve if we were actually doing what we wrote that we will do. One area that is of interest for me, especially when he mentioned South Africa. In South Africa, everything the mine is using is from South Africa. Looking at where Ghana is right now in terms of our mining, we have not advanced enough in terms of inputs, manufacturing. I think on the Chamber of Mines, you saw the spend is like 4 billion. And I am a supplier. Most of the things that we are supplying, we are bringing them in. So I think that discussing just the lease, we need to look at the whole value chain. Ghanaians can benefit more if we can see how best we can help manufacturers and suppliers. One of the problems as a supplier is that sometimes you have a product and you know that you can manufacture. But if you manufacture, the market, Ghana as a market, is too small. And so you don't have the economies of scale. And so in terms of that, we need to look at a regional way of being able to supply products regionally. Because I believe that it's not just the lease, but the whole value chain that we should, regulate and look at.
Thank you very much. I think we've discussed this very extensive. Let's look a bit at small-scale mining activities. We've been able to, government upon government have tried their best to manage illegal mining activities. And one of the issues that has been flagged is about they not having geologically investigated areas. Government upon government have made efforts to invest, but personally I would say it's not enough. And it's also accounting to this dig and try activities, which is still continuing polluting our water bodies, blah, blah, blah. Do we have the opinion that we should shift the geological investigative activity with small-scale mining activity to the applicant? Just as a large-scale mining company is coming to mine, we apply for prospecting first to declare, to know that there is something there before you even apply to mine. In terms of sustainability, we're trying to control our environment while not stopping our miners to do their mining activity. Should we make it a point that now if you want to apply for small-scale mining activity, we are not expecting you to do, let's say, the highest form of prospecting, but maybe to be able to prove that this particular area, some sampling have been undertaken. Is it possible?
Yes. First of all, I totally disagree that small-scale miners must do their own exploration. No. You can't give someone 25 acres of land and ask him to bring, a drill machine or something like that to check. That's a no, no, no. So the approach of general exploration and mapping of minerals. In fact, when I was at the commission, we had agreement with UMAT, the Legon, for them to, particularly the PhD and master student, to help with drilling and mapping as part of their studies. I don't know where it went anyway. So we need to have the record. And as a nation, it's important for us to have the records there, that in this particular area, there is some amount of gold here or something over here. So I think it's important that the Geological Survey Authority is supported to do that. The challenge has always been resources to do that. That's very important. So once we have done that and we have data there, the small-scale miner must be a miner like Goldfields or AngloGold Ashanti, which is small. That's been my perception of what a small-scale miner is. You are a miner doing all the right things, doing all the environmental things, but your size or your scale is small. And so we should help them to that stage. It's extremely important. And this is why I have always, since 2013 or so, supported the issue of recategorization of mining, which the law also allows for that to be done. So that those big, small-scale miners that you see in Wase Kropon and other places will be either put together as a medium-scale miners with specific regulations around them. You know, so these are things that I believe we should be looking at. We need to have records for people to apply. And then you can even take some taxes from them because government would have spent money anyway in trying to do the exploration. So when they come and they start mining, you can tell them, because we know that there's gold here, when you mine, we will take a certain percentage from you. I think that would be my reflection on that.
Thank you very much for your input. Madam?
I think, I don't know what the template is. So the right template is, I think the country has been battling with this. And so Dr. Obin's submission, I think it sounds like the way to go. Because Geological Survey, I thought used to do some work before the small-scale miners were given their concessions. But another thing that I think we should encourage is the community cooperative groups that the Ministry of Lands recently launched. I think it's a good way because it helps to formalize. And so before they are given the concession, some work should be done, and it will help with control, because environmental degradation in the small scale doesn't just remain with small scale. It's a brand Ghana.
Thank you very much. I've been asked to wrap up, but before we move to the questions, I would like us to finish on local content and participation. And I'll start from Council. I mean, in your opening statement, you touched a bit on this. How, in your opinion? I once reviewed a mining company's annual report, and the report indicated that actually they did about 90+% of their procurement locally in Ghana. But I decided to check again, and it was just 2.3% that was within the mining catchment community. So though, well, it is done in the country, but the catchment communities are not getting that kind of like value from the activity. That's the local community aspect. In terms of the direct participation, where now the country is yearning for Ghanaians standing up to own mines, in your opinion, how should we go by this to achieve the vision we want to achieve?
I think it will boil down to building capacity. Financial and technical, and even though it's a private sector, I think the initiative must be taken by government straight away. Government must be able to, in this new policy and in the amendment or the new law that will be passed, should be able to be firm to ask not only the mining companies, but all the companies that contribute to the value chain, so the banks especially, GRA as well, to be able to give some slack to local companies too, because we are beginning a race, 100 meters race, where our competitors are already at the 50-meter line. So you cannot expect, this is a stage where equality is not equity. So the government must be intentional about, for example, saying if Mr. Pepra comes to you with his company that he wants to supply Anglo Gold, and ordinarily you give a loan at a rate of 38% if it is, 32% if it is cedis. Why don't you give him a loan of 25% to allow him to be able to, in his bid, be able to compete with another entity? And you have situations where the Ghanaians are fronting for these foreign companies as well in the name of local content, especially if you look at the supply of oil, for instance. I know now it's 100% must be a Ghanaian company. How many Ghanaian companies have the capacity to import crude themselves. Definitely there's some form of foreign participation along that chain. And so you see a big check, $1 million to Kofi Meno Limited. Out of that $1 million, only 5% actually is for the person whose name appears. The rest goes to his financiers because he cannot get a loan from a Ghanaian company. Senior Kofi is looking at me. From a Ghanaian company to be able to facilitate it. And I think when the capacity is built for the Ghanaian, no matter which part of Ghana they come from, indirectly or directly, eventually it will affect the catchment area. The very last time I went to Takwa, for instance, if you look at the road in that vicinity, and you look at the fact that it passes in front of UMAT, and how bad those roads are, and you drive just down there, you see Goldfields, their largest operating mine in the world. In the world. Then you ask yourself, where is all the money going to? Just when you get out of the entrance of their mine, you see the communities around. At the end of the day, the people there, what they're able to contribute is to be able to stand there. And in one of my visits there, they had an issue of the locals siphoning the fuel. They were siphoning the fuel. That is how desperate it can get. The machines that are used, they'll go and siphon the fuel. And imagine the risk. Because they don't have any other business. But if the government decides to invest in these locals, a small shop there that will be able to sell PEPs. Another shop there that will be able to supply some of those basic things. And there's policy for microfinances, financial institutions to give them credit at a very competitive rate. Gradually, one person here, one person there would be able to survive. We had a cocoa scholarship for children of wards coming from cocoa areas, which I probably benefited from. I've asked myself whether we have scholarship for children of people coming from mining areas. Look at how much mining contributes to the economy. But the children of the people whose lands are taken, if you go to Takwa, deep inside the mine, one of the mines, I saw a habitation, a village. Deep inside the mine. I asked myself, if somebody is sick, how are they going to get out of here and come? But that is their motherland. That is where their great-great-grandfathers gave to them. They don't want to move out of there. Is there any scholarship scheme for the awards to benefit? And I think that government must be very intentional. And collectively, one mine at a time, one village at a time, we will build capacities for all of us to benefit from what we have.
Thank you very much, Council. That's powerful. Madam?
The mineral resources belongs to all of us in Ghana. Shared value is important. I would recommend that we have a national supplier development plan and a national supply development program. I believe that, I think around 2018, the Chamber of Mines and some other organizations were involved in such a program, but I don't know what happened to it, but we need it. And this program should have capacity building, training, everything. It should take into account, people living with disabilities in communities, women, youth, everything. A thorough program for the mining sector, because it is not just the act of mining, but it is the process and the everything that must benefit from.
Thank you very much. Right, Doc?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that I stand by my first position that we must move away from supply of goods to manufacturing. It's extremely important, and this government must incentivize for that to happen. I remember some companies tried to support the development of steel balls, and I think they were supported by one of the mining companies, I think Goldfields, to do that. Then there was another company that came to Tema, wanted to establish, I don't know where they are, but I think we must be deliberate about that. Okay. Now, secondly, local ownership must be local content. Local content must be local ownership as well. So there's no difference between local investment and foreign investment. That's, as long as there is investment. Common denominator is investment. So we should give priority to our entrepreneurs who have ability to bring capital to own mining, because these are natural resources that if properly managed, it will help us. But I'm not averse to government participating in mining. Personally, I'm not averse. And Botswana gives me this encouragement. In Botswana, the Botswana company has, I think, 49%. Government has 51%. But it's not free carry interest. Ghanaians, we like free carry interest. That 10% free carry, 10%. Government must have a skin in the pie, make sure that they benefit directly from whatever resources they are mining, rather than expect a mining company to add. Finally, I think that when opportunities are also given to Ghanaians, we should not expect that corporate social responsibility is by only big companies. I have always said Takwa, where I come from, the economy of Takwa may be bigger than maybe the economy of Upper West region. Takwa alone. So, and that economy is being generated by the mines over there. What are the rippling effects? What are the other effects that could impact on a community like Takwa? Sometimes we overly depend on the mines to do that, but we can have an omnibus, a broader approach to ensure that all economic activities going on in, let's say, Takwa also benefit everybody in Takwa. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, my panelists. We've been discussing on the policy, regulation, and investment activities. And in summary, discussions actually touched on we should tie life of mines to our mining lease period. With the DAs and the stability, we should look at increasing the threshold and looking at other best practices. Madam also spoke about we should prioritize some gender activities in the ASM, and I agree with you. In Tanzania, under the STAMICO, they are doing something. Council has also made a very good point also for the local content and the participation, and at this point we'll leave it to the MC for our audience to also come in. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together for that well-moderated conversation. Please remain seated, because we are sure that the rest of our audiences may have some questions or contributions. I see a hand up. Is there any other? Okay, I see a second here. There is a third, there's a fourth. Jesus Christ. Okay, that's fine. Let's go for the very first one. Can somebody do us the honor of passing the microphone around? You mention your name, you indicate the organization, and then you continue with your question or contribution. Questions more preferably, actually.
Good. So my name is Che Kojo Yamwa. I'm in civil society, but my background is extractive metallurgy. One of the key things that every investor in the mining would be concerned about is what the investor came for. The gold, the concession. The discussion about how illegal mining affects that is very key. How do I, as an investor, ensure that there will not be encroachment on my concession? So that is one of the few things that we need to discuss to ensure that if I come and invest, I am secured. And I, as an investor, would not have to be spending on security. The other point is that there is the need for geological support for small-scale miners, and then also extractive metallurgy, or a pool where resources of such can be pulled from. I have done some work for small-scale miners, and you notice that most of them have difficulty even tracing the exact ore. So mostly it's diluted by the overburden. So if there is resources from government or a pool of experts that they can rely on at maybe a negotiated fee later on or something, that they can be sure, because they are not going to do prospecting. The other point is that a lot of the gold is being lost because of poor recovery. So we need to ensure that there is that services. You see a lot of the manufacturers along our road doing the shaking tables. And it comes at an angle. I've engaged a lot of them. They are just doing it and supplying our small-scale miners. It depends on their ore particle size. If not, you lose a lot of gold when you are out there. And these are areas that we need to look at. I think that during the gold board discussion, there was some incentive of technical support. I don't know how that can address this, but it's very important for investors and also addressing Galamsey. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Clearly, that was not a question. That was a contribution to the discourse. We are grateful. Questions, please. Is there a question? Okay. Let's pick the question here, and then we'll come to you.
My name is Willie Amu.
Right.
From Ghana Bauxite Company. My question, in fact, is aimed at addressing our gold reserve. I've wanted to direct this question to the boss of the gold board, but unfortunately, I think he's not here. My question is, we have other countries, powerful countries, like United States, Germany, having their refined gold reserves in tons, thousands of tons. United States, for instance, owns over 8,000 tons of gold reserve. That is refined gold reserve. And yet, we don't know the gold reserve that the Central Bank of Ghana has in its vault. We would like to see something like that. If really we are a gold mining giant, we should see, as a citizen of this country, I particularly always am concerned about we also having a gold reserve, which will also help to strengthen our currency and other things. That's my question.
Sure. Thank you. Unfortunately, the Chief Executive Officer is not here, but I'm sure that concern will be noted and the clarification will come accordingly. Please.
Yeah, my question is, I didn't hear anything about human rights.
Sorry, did you mention your name?
My name is Dr. Samuel Obri with the Center for Environmental Impact Analysis. My question is, what are the human rights safeguards in the 2014 mining and mineral policy at 703 and then the proposed amendment that we keep on harping on investment, but this investment comes at a cost to the local people and the community people. So what are the human rights safeguards to also address some of these issues? The second point I want to look at is, we're talking about the investment, but what are the physical regimes? For instance, if you go to Act 703, we say, oh, mining companies, you can clear duty-free. We give a whole lot of tax incentives and all those kind of things there. If we match them, have we done cost-benefit analysis to look at and say that between 2006 to 2016,